Moving on to our next speaker. Our next speaker, she is at the forefront of innovation. And before pursuing her career in stocks education, she used to work in AMD and Intel. And I believe she is the right person to unravel the mysteries of AI and what lies beyond in 2024. And she's here right now with us to explore the entire ecosystem of the artificial intelligence. And with over 20 years of experience in stocks and derivatives, we are confident that we are going to have a better understanding of AI after this. So, without further ado, let's welcome the Director, Chief Trainer and Coach of Beyond Insights, Ms. Kathleen Thor, on stage.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I think you can do better than this. This is a zone out time, right? So I need to wake you up. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so I like to speak in a room with higher energy. I'll do my best to hopefully can keep you all awake, right? So I like to understand the audience better. It's just not about me, transferring and downloading to you. I'd like to be able to speak and relate to you what you're looking for, right? How many of you have already started investing? Raise your hand. How many of you have not started? I just want to see how many newbies here. Okay. Are you sure? I didn't invested for a long time. How many of you have already started investing in the US market? Raise your hand. US market. Oh, quite a number. How many of you already invested in AI stocks? Raise your hand. Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so that helps me to understand your context better. Okay, so when Chuck, first of all, thanks Chuck and thanks to M+ Global for inviting me. I like to share, and this gives me a chance to share these insights. My typical presentation for this is 2 hours. Okay, so I will do my best. I may skip some of the slides in a faster manner, if you don't mind. So I chose this topic called the AI Megatrend Beyond the Obvious because I think a lot of people have been talking about AI. Right? So I want to share with you something that is beyond what is obvious to you. And of course, depending on your experience, it could be obvious or not obvious to you, right? Okay, so 2 weeks ago, we organized a symposium where I shared about the mega trend. I just want to share with you that AI is just one of the mega trend, right? And there are many, many things that are driving the big picture, and those will also affect the industry in a big wave, right? And many of these actually impact the semiconductor space, right? Semiconductor is actually a core of everything. Yeah. So I'm going to start with AI. The rest, probably as a future topic, right, if you're interested. So let me share the objective of this session. This was actually extracted from one of our course called Industry Insights, where we do deep research into the mega trend and 28 industries, but we focus deeper into the 10 top industries. And the focus of this presentation in our course as well as today is to help investors and traders, right, to better anticipate in the next 3 to 5 years. I know not everyone is that long term, right, but in fact, a lot of this pages that I'm going to share with you later, some can be even lasting for a decade and beyond, okay? But I think most of you probably are looking on more on the 3 to 5 years time frame, so that you can invest in industries that align with the mega trend. So why mega trend investing? One of the most important reasons is, after trading for 30 years, I realized that there's a lot of things that can happen to the market. Right? Many things can go wrong. And now this year is very challenging, right? We have a lot of geopolitical tension. So there'll be a lot of anxiety as an investor. How do I cope with all the cycles? So one big team that can help me, and also yourself, to have the confidence is to know the big picture. Because why mega trend? That means the mega trend are trends that will last for at least a decade. They will not go away. So if you know that is the big wave, the short-term fluctuation, the short-term tension, geopolitical, whatever that is affecting the market, or the fear about recession, is actually a good time for you to invest. Yeah, because if we don't have problem, it will be sky high. Do you agree? Right. So hopefully this education can help you to have the conviction, but don't buy on Monday straight away. Okay? Yeah, make sure you know how to time it. And how many of you are business owner here? Can I see a show of hands? Business owner, right? So business owner, you even need to take this more seriously, okay? Because AI is going to be the future, right? If you don't do anything with it, you will lag behind, right? You're not able to compete, okay? So we are here to help you understand, to anticipate what are the potential disruptive change in the market that may also affect your industry, and to increase the So you need to do something to better compete in this market. And we're also doing this for our own industry in the education. And this type of analysis can also help you potentially to see what are the areas you can innovate in your business as well, right? So actually AI has come a long way, right? We may hear a lot about AI today. Actually it started in 1950s, okay? I'm not going to go through this historical timeline because I don't think that's what you're interested in. But why is a sudden change right now? What year do you think is the inflection point? The inflection point where the demand suddenly shoot up. It was when we have the ChatGPT starting with all the big hype, right? Yeah, it's not really a hype, right? It became a reality way back in around October to November in 2022, right? So then the demand started to surge. So the inflection point is actually in 2023. But I want to share with you some of the major insights because I also come from a tech background. I used to be a programmer in AMD, and I work in the semiconductor industry for, let me count, 5 years in AMD and 12 years in Intel, right? So altogether 17 years in factory automation. So the inflection point was because now we are ready because we have enough data. And this data is in a more structured manner, organized by, it's being stored in big group of companies like Google, right, Microsoft, and Amazon. So you have it consolidated and you can train the AI. Without enough information, you cannot really train the AI, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Right? Those of you who have used ChatGPT before, you will know sometimes it doesn't give you accurate information. Yeah? And the other part is the enabling infrastructure. So we have the maturity in the cloud processing. So we have a few big tech, right? For example, Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Alibaba, that's providing huge cloud infrastructure. Then even SME companies like us are able to use their AI services. Right? Otherwise, it will be costing us a lot just to implement AI. Right? So you can use Microsoft Azure, right, to actually does a lot of the AI research for your company. And the computing power, with all these high-speed CPU, graphics card, and TPU, then it can enable a lot of this at a faster manner. And of course, network bandwidth is also a key enabler. So if you look at this, then you know what are the stocks that you need to watch out for, right? Yeah. And how big is it? Like a lot of people ask me, is it going to be a bust, right? Yeah, for just like the .com. I've personally gone through the .com bust myself, right? That was in year 2000 to 2003, right? The .com crash when I was working for Intel. I can see how my Intel stock options dropped from $70 to $13. Okay, yeah. So people have been talking about, with this, so-called bull run, will we have a crash? How many of you are worried about that? Raise your hand. Yeah? So hopefully at the end of this, you will feel more confident about AI. Right? It's not going to be like that because that is another story. I've gone through that and understand what caused that because during the time, there was a lot of .com company that actually doesn't make money. Right? But the value become too high. That's why it become a bust. So you just need to go for a solid company that justify the valuation. Then you're okay. There's still a lot more growth. So if you look at this is from Pricewaterhouse, right? PwC research. The potential contribution to GDP, right? Primary beneficiary country will be US and China. It's 14% boost to GDP by 2030. Right now we are in 2024. And 26% boost to China GDP in 2030. So let's look at this. 15.7 trillion is that huge number. During the pandemic, what is the stimulus from US? The printing money. Right? It's more than 8 trillion. If you add all the central bank, European central bank, Swiss central bank, as well as Japanese central bank, is $26 trillion. Right? That's what caused the whole bull run in 2020. Okay? So now they are tapering. This is 15.7. It's huge. I remember going through the US financial crisis, the stimulus was only 700 billion. And it can really cause the stock market to go up so much. So what it shows here is the AI market is really huge. And that's the reason why there's still, even though the stock is high, like Nvidia and so on, there's still a lot of room to go. Yeah? Later on, you will get some confidence. And, there's a huge race for AI, right? A lot of these companies, they cannot not, right, speed up their AI initiative. Otherwise, they will be really behind. For example, right, Google was catching up when ChatGPT came in. Right? They came up with Bard, but it's not working. Right? They have a demo, but it was really not so good for them. Yeah? When they were having a demo, it shows that actually they are not ready. right? That actually caused the stock price to be lagging. Right? That's why Microsoft has been going up, then Google was a bit behind, and now it's catching up back. Okay, so they have to speed up, and the way they speed up usually is through acquisition. And that's why I won't suggest you to go for a smaller company. There's so many small companies in AI, but it's more risky. The small guys will be eaten by the big guys soon, right? Because they have cash. And Apple is one of the big acquisitions, right? They have a big team to acquire company, but they just, put a very low profile. Okay, so, they make a surprise announcement. But from the surface, it seems to be they are a bit lacking. Right, other than about Siri and so on, right? They said they want to have something on the autonomous car, but now they push it out again, right? So we are not sure whether they are really behind, but definitely they are doing a lot of acquisition in this space. And Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, right? So these are all the big guys. So other than this company, right, something beyond that you need to focus on, that is, I will feel on the safer space, is a software side. Yeah, one of the reasons is software right now are not in the high, focus in terms of sanctions between US and China. Okay, whereas for Nvidia, AMD, all the semiconductor equipment supplier, right, especially the top tier, they're under high scrutiny. Other than Android, right, was one of the software that was being sanctioned, right? That's because they worried about Huawei profiting, and that actually helps Apple to have a few years advantage over Huawei. So, and that advantage is not easily to be replaced by Huawei, right? Because of the ecosystems in the operating systems on Android, that you need all your Gmail, right? Your Google Drive, your YouTube, your Facebook account, and so on. So, however, the software side is not in their high focus, and US has a strong lead compared to China in terms of software. Right, so there's a lot of AI software in this area. Microsoft is one of them. We have CRM, Adobe, and there's a list of them, like some of them already mentioned by Loui. And there's still a strong growth here. So it's just less volatile to me. Right? If you're investing in the semicon stocks, so you are here on and off, especially when someone come on board. Who is that person? Election. Right? If Donald Trump come on board, we will see even more tension, right? More sanction coming in. So you have to be prepared in terms of the semiconductor space, right? Yeah, so this is another area beyond the hardware side, is the IT services and also the business services, consulting. You can see that we just have the IBM release their earnings and the stock gap up, right? Because they're also into big wave into AI, right? Not just the hosting, but also the consulting part. Right? They will need, a lot of companies doesn't know how to implement AI properly, so they need a lot of these kind of consultants to come in. Okay, and these are the, I think I can skip this. These are the main regions that are focusing a lot on AI hardware. Okay, just the percentage. You can see they are all more or less on par. Okay, 80% on AI server and 20% on storage. So the server is still the main demand. So if you look at the major growth, just now we talked about the $1 trillion of growth impact to GDP, right? This is the breakdown from PwC analysis, right? So where are we? It's a bit blurred over here. We are in, cannot see the 2024. I think we are somewhere around here. Yeah, 2024 here. There's still a lot of room to go. We are just in the infancy stage only. That's how big the AI market is. And if you look at the color zone, most of the early stage is on productivity improvement, which our company already implemented. We actually utilize the ChatGPT a lot to improve our copywriting, right? Because also it helps a lot because for Malaysians, not everyone is very good with grammar, to write very good targeting messages. And ChatGPT is just fantastic. You can say, write this in a layman message to this target market, write it to appeal to doctors, write it to appeal to lawyers, right? And it will customize for you. Just fantastic. Right? So those will be the initial productivity gain. And you can actually send in the entire feedback. Sometimes we have a few hundred feedback coming from a particular class, and it can summarize everything for you. That's really time saver. But the second wave, right, beyond 2025, is actually the second part, the orange zone, is where the innovations start to come in, right, on personalization. Okay. This is another huge topic itself. If you're interested, this will help a lot in terms of the business innovation. Okay, so let's look at this other part. Okay, I'm not sure why it doesn't pop up one by one. Okay, I think this is a different technology where they integrate to the entire screen. Supposed to pop up one by one, but it's okay. You see it all at once. So what are the key beneficiary industries of AI? Right now, you can see the main traction are in automotive. If you have watched the CES event, CES is a very major event in the US once a year, held in Las Vegas, where a lot of the big companies and small companies, they will demonstrate their latest innovation. And one of the major ones that's also on the automotive, I've seen one where Qualcomm was showing their new software that is for the dashboard, right? Fully integrated to voice control and also all the gaming entertainment, right, on the dashboard. Okay, so that's where a lot of things are happening. Automotive, industrial, I think it's more on the formatting when they change the format. Industrial automation, just now Loui mentioned about Industry 5.0, right? In fact, when I was sharing about a Megatrend, that's actually huge as well. Industry 4.0 is current, but 5.0 is also going to be happening very soon, where we talk about using IoT, robotics. So Tesla is already very advanced in this, right? So they have a lot of automation in the factory, but you will see more and more of this coming soon. Healthcare, right? So I would say in priority of the implementation, right? The top part will be the one that you already see happening. Healthcare is huge. I have another slide on that. Education is still in early phase, right? A lot more innovation need to be there, and which is in our space as well. Cloud computing is already, I would say one of the safest area to invest is cloud computing, right? Because the demand is already there. Okay, and you have the big guys. They already have the profit and the growth is there, right? That's the safest part. The rest are all taking off, and there's a lot of competition in the EV space. Yeah, so you have to be careful on the EV space. Data analytics. So once you have so much data, then the next thing comes with all the data analytics company, right? You need to provide software to analyze all this data. However, when we evaluated this space, there's like a few thousand company in there. Very competitive, right? So it's still better to go for the big guys, unless you are the type who are willing to go to the company level research. Okay, then you can catch some of the early players in this area. Okay, then creative media and targeting advertising. This one has actually helped us to solve a big problem. How many of you are aware of this Data Privacy Act that's actually affecting significantly on the targeting for advertisement? And it impacted us in 2022. Right, so our advertising costs shoot up sky high during that year, and even though the advertising costs go up, but the targeting was not so effective, right? So, and this has changed because Meta and also Google has implemented AI, and that's why they can afford to cut staff right now. Right, during the 2021 and 2022, Meta hired close to 20,000 people, right? 10,000 first year and 10,000 just to comply on data privacy. Okay, there's a lot of manual work, and early last year, many of the tech companies started to retrench because firstly, they overhired during 2020, and started to retrench a lot, not just because the demand is not there, but because AI actually helped them, and actually helped us to be able to target the right people. For example, if the AI can actually understand what the consumer preference is, right? If you start to search for something related to stock, then you know you're interested in stock, then suddenly you see all the stock advertisement coming up, right? Yeah. So this actually helped us to overcome. So how is it different from before? I'm not sure whether you understand this part. Let me just give you a simple comparison before and after AI. Before AI, when we want to target certain age group, right? Because we provide education in stock market investing, right? And trading. So we know that what are the age group that is our target customer, because they are more ready to think about investment. They know that investment is important, right? So it's 30 to 50 years old. Yeah, is where our prime market is. So, and also we want to look at certain professions, right? Certain professions that are more likely to go for this. In the past, we need to be able to look at their Facebook profile. We need to target or their Google profile. But with the data privacy, we cannot access anymore. And an iPhone has implemented the settings where by default is turned off, notification turned off, unless the user willing to turn it on. And that already reduced the 80 to 90% of the exposure. Can you see the problem? Yeah, so, and with AI, it solved this problem, but not completely. Not completely in the sense that it knows what you search, what you like. However, we are not able to target the people who may not be searching for, let's say, investment and trading, but they could be interested if you show them the benefit. Okay, so these are the type where we are still missing out. So hopefully AI can help us with that as well. The next one is customer service. You know, the chatbot will replace with AI assistant very soon. You can see some companies already doing that. Entertainment is big, gaming, video streaming, and this one also together with the virtualization, right? Remember the Apple Vision Pro is coming out soon, not in Asia, so I'm still looking forward to buy one, but I usually don't buy the first phase. Usually the first phase may have issues. I'll wait for the second phase. And that will also require AI, okay? Security. With AI, how many of you have experienced that there's a lot of, the scam, online scam is going up a lot. How many of you realize that? Yeah, even a company advertisement has been copied exactly, the full copy, the video, my face, copied, but different sponsor name. And we've been complaining, there's more than 10 of them. We have to keep catching them over and over because we are afraid that they affect our branding, okay? So due to this, the AI security is actually one of the major areas that no company can avoid investing in, right? So cybersecurity firm, some of it is already mentioned earlier, like FTNT, PanW, ZS, and also Crowd. Yeah, there's quite a lot of them. So most companies will need to have that, right? So you can see there's a lot of industries that AI can benefit, right? It's not just about Nvidia, ChatGPT. And this is automotive. I'm going to zoom into, right, we can see many industries here. I just zoom into a few because of time. Automotive itself, this is from the Global Market Insights research, another 100x growth. Of course, normally when I see very big growth, I will also be a bit skeptical, right? Don't be overly optimistic, but it shows that it's huge. The value is $600 billion, right, in the 2032, right? 55% cumulative growth, which is very high. Okay, so this is one of the area. Why is it so high? Because it needs 3 different segments here. Data mining, as all these automotive cars go into the road with autonomous driving, you need a lot of data that go back to the central server and the company to analyze them. For example, for companies that are having the autonomous fleet, right, like the robotaxi, like Waymo, Baidu, and so on. So they will need to be able to monitor all this fleet that is around, whether there's any problems, right? Whether there's any congestions, how can I optimize the whole fleet? Because every car costs them money, right? So this will require them to have a strong data mining, analytics software, and deep learning as well, right? So that's another huge investment. And these are the biggest AI potential in the automation, in the automotive space. The whole manufacturing process, Industry 5.0, and the autonomous fleet, right? So you will see more and more robotaxi, but I don't think it's going to be easy to implement in Malaysia, right? You need a very well-planned infrastructure like China and US, like some parts of Europe may be more feasible. Semi-autonomous feature where you still need a driver, but it assists the driver. Engine monitoring, predictive maintenance. One of the transition, we actually have a whole study on EV, right? So the transition between combustion engine to EV, there's not much thing to maintain already, right? You don't have to change many things in your car regularly. So basically, if anything goes wrong, you swap the whole thing, okay? But what if your car breaks down at a highway, right? So they will need some monitoring and predictive so it can send to you in the fastest manner, okay? Yeah, when you have a breakdown, okay? So in terms of the priority, the first one right now, what we have already faced right now is regulation acceptance, right, for autonomous driving. So otherwise, it could have taken the faster route. Okay, so now this is actually holding back. The second midterm is the on-demand parts, right, which I mentioned to you. Parts will break down. Right now, we're in the early stage of adoption. You may not see this. But once more and more EV cars are in the market, you will see the demand for maintenance, right, and so on. And for the longer term, is more on the predictive maintenance, okay? All right, healthcare is huge. This is a huge part. However, there's not a lot of players in this space. It's also more technical. Healthcare is actually very laborious, as I mentioned, but it has 30% of the world data. So one of the major benefits is the supporting diagnosis. For example, if we have implemented AI during the pandemic, right, the whole vaccine development could have been speed up much faster. And hopefully it's more accurate. One of my major concerns is how accurate is it, right? They speed up a lot of drugs development. So many of the biotechnology company are very focused on this right now, right? And the last part is identification of potential pandemic and data tracking. Just imagine when we have all our data integrated into a central system. Of course, data privacy is actually a major concern, right? Because it's related to your personal health. We would be able to detect if there's issues coming out or there's a potential pandemic. Like a lot of times, it goes to a small clinic and you are not aware of it, But if everything is integrated, we will know, okay, suddenly the flu shot up. Suddenly this disease shot up, right? You will be able to have a more proactive monitoring for that. Okay, and you'll be able to have more data to analyze a pattern. For example, right, so I do regular checkup, right, like 2 years once. Sometimes when I'm busy, it's 3 years once. So I have a 10 years package for full medical screening. So every time I go there, the doctor have to compare the last scan and this scan, very manual. How many of you experience that? Right, with AI, it will automatically tell you have a which problem, right? It will compare all the data together, okay? All right, so I'll skip some of this. There's a lot more. So we have a lot of things happening in AI, but which one will grow faster? Right, that's our concern. And which one is worth our money? Which one has less risk? Okay. So of course the obvious, right? The obvious, and I'll talk about the not obvious later. The obvious is the Magnificent Seven minus Tesla, mainly because why I would suggest it was performing very well, but now things have changed. Right? Things have changed. Mainly because anyone knows what's happening to the EV industry. The EV car price go up or keep coming down? Coming down, right? They've been slashing price because of competition. So it's not just Tesla stock coming down, but you can see across the board, most of the EV car from China, stock price are also coming down. Right? So you don't want to go into a market where they have to slash price. Okay? So that's not very good for the margin. But Elon Musk wants to go into robotics, right? So he may become the so-called Iron Man, you know, the stock industry in the Iron Man movie, right? He could become one of them. Right? So that's, he says that is bigger than the EV market. So there's something that if you're a very futuristic type, you may want to monitor what Elon Musk is doing on that. Because robotics is also the future, right? For Industry 5.0 and also for the general, general user type of adoption, okay? So I would say this will still be a great investment. So you just need to wait for some pullback. Seasonally, right now we are towards the end of January. Seasonally, there's a pullback in February. It's called a seasonal dip. Okay, based on statistics for like 100 years. Okay, thank you. So what is the reason? Because after a strong rally, because we usually have a year-end rally, right? And the rally has started like November 1st all the way until January with just a minor pullback. Then the market needs to take a break. Then it will be profit-taking because it's very high, very stretched, right? Far from the EMA. So after the profit-taking is where you need to watch out to get back in. Because seasonally, April is a high again. Yeah. So let's look at the obvious six. I cannot see the numbers here. Is 80%. Yeah, increase. 80% increase. So what is the not so obvious? If you are more savvy, you can look at this. If you're not so savvy, just new to AI, then I would say go for the Magnificent Five. Minus Tesla, minus Netflix. Okay? Netflix is not really in like core AI. Okay? But if you're ready for this, then you can look at the whole ecosystem. Right? There's a lot more beyond AI. The semiconductor itself, infrastructure, there's a lot of companies within here. Right? Then services, the solutions, software, and other technology. Right? There's a huge space there. Then this is where it goes beyond the obvious, right? So among the ecosystem just now, everything else require semiconductor. You agree? And these are the highest demand, and those most critical component in semiconductor, the CPU, the GPU, the TPU, FPGA. In fact, there's a lot more, yeah, but it may get a bit technical. Right? There's also the what we call the FPGA, NPU, APU, and so on. Yeah. And who is providing this? Who do you think? Yeah, Nvidia, Intel, AMD. But however, you need to watch out. So let me just show you. Some people ask me, how many of you think that Nvidia is already too high, way too overvalued? Raise your hand. Who thinks Nvidia can still go up a lot more? Okay, so let me share with you. Yes, I would say that today price is high. Right? If you look at PE, if you look at PG, still relatively high. Right? So when PE is high, what does it mean? When PE is high, but the growth is there, that means the price you pay today, you're paying for the future growth. So if the future growth don't happen, then you may have a correction. But if you're confident the future growth will happen, then you can still invest. Okay? But you need to be, don't do it when it's very stretched, right? So let me share with you why Nvidia can still go up because of the demand. Why last year, even after 80% up in the first 4 months, it still can go up to 200+% by the end of the year, is from the earnings announcement. This is one of the core points last year. One large data center needs 100 servers or more. And let me share with you, how many servers do you think that Amazon has? Cloud server, just a guess. 1.5 million servers. 1.5 million servers. Yeah, you can Google it. And in more than 100 locations. One center itself typically has 50 to 100 servers. Okay, one center. Microsoft has 4 million. Yeah, 4 million servers. And that include 40 million hard disks, okay, SSD, and 40 exabyte of storage data. And the 3 companies itself in the US already dominated 61% of the cloud market. So a lot of people are worried about, oh, will China take over the US in terms of AI, right, or the cloud? Not so easy, because a lot of demand is from US and from Europe, because they don't want, even in Europe, right, they are actually alliance of US, they don't want China to look at the data. Okay, and Europe don't have something strategic on the technologies yet, okay, or the cloud. Okay, so these 3, just to give you some statistics, AWS, yeah, Amazon Web Services, cloud server, captured 32% of cloud market. Azure from Microsoft, 20%. Google, 9%. Alibaba, guess how many percent? Only 6%. They are number 4. Okay, so the demand, so within US itself, there's sufficient demand. Because of this, you don't have to worry so much about the US-China tension when it comes to investing in cloud. Understand? Yeah. So one of the major distinctions here is this point. For one cloud server, this is the internal architecture, right? They need 2 CPU. That means if they invest in one cloud, they will need 2 CPU. Who provides CPU? AMD, Intel, Nvidia is going to this space as well, right? These are the core. And the next one is, but Intel is really falling behind on the cloud server. This one I highlighted. One server requires 8 high-performance GPU. Who provides the GPU? Nvidia. This A100 is from Nvidia. So every time they add one server, they need 8 Nvidia chips. So now you know why Nvidia is so bullish last year. Do you think understanding this make a lot of difference in your conviction? Yeah, huge demand, right? But of course, the number of GPU varies depending on the implementation from each company. However, one thing we need to watch out for is all these big guys, Microsoft, AMD, Amazon, and Google are also smart. They know their biggest costs come from all these servers and data center. They will not want Nvidia to be the one dictating all the price. So they are also creating their own chip. But it will take a while before they can catch up with Nvidia's speed. So this is one area that you need to watch out for. So what is a safer way to invest for beginners? You just buy SMH, right? Semiconductor ETF. Right? So whoever wins, you're still okay. Right? And TSMC is inside, yeah, as well. Okay, so this is actually a very important part. So if you want to be more strategic for the investment, so you look at what are the highest demand, core infrastructure. So cloud server is one of them, because these are the servers that provide AI services and cloud hosting, not just for AI, also for the general hosting. The second one, the next wave, is the next generation phone, right? Smartphone will need to incorporate AI. So this is the old version, right? This is iPhone 15, okay? What it takes, so you look at all the supplier within the iPhone, right? There's, Qualcomm. It's a bit blur because the image got expanded. So look at all the supplier, those are the ecosystem. But those, don't just buy them, because some of them are very competitive as well. Yeah, the margin may not be so high. So what we need to know is the next one, which is like Samsung just released their AI phone, right, using the Google-enabled AI, Android AI. And I'm sure Apple will come up with them. Like normally, Apple release is in around September timeframe, the annual release. But they may share their OS-enabled AI around the developers forum, around June. Okay, so when those announcements come out, it may shoot up. Okay, so we just need to look at the components, right, of the ecosystem of all the key deployment of AI. Right, one is the server, the other one is the phone. Of course, if you go into other areas, it will become more technical, like the industrial automation. Okay. All right. So the next layer, okay, this is where not so obvious. Okay, we know about Nvidia, we know about AMD and Intel, but in order to produce one CPU or one graphics card, right? You need to go through this whole process, right? This is where I come from, my previous company. So from the wafer, this is called the wafer. Then you get this fabrication process where you need to cut into the specific square die. Then you need to go to sorting. Sorting is testing and sort out which is a good chip, not so good chip. Then you need to go to a die bank. Then it will ship to companies like AMD and Intel in Malaysia. Right? When it comes to assembly, there's a whole assembly line. Then it will need to go to test equipment to make sure that you pick up the good chip. Then only it's sent to companies like Dell, right, or Lenovo. So among this entire process here, the whole manufacturing process, there are equipment supplier. For example, who are the manufacturer for fab equipment? So we have the AMAT, LRCX, ASML on lithography. Right? So those are opportunities as well. Those are more upstream. Last year, they were not doing so well because there's a lot of inventory stuck at the customer here. But now the inventory are depleting. Right? So once the inventory depleting, then the demand will pick up here. This inventory go down, then they will start to, once they maximize the capacity, they will need to buy new equipment. Okay, so I need to speed up. I got a timer there. So along this whole line, you can look at equipment supplier, right? All the equipment supplier in the process. And so my key takeaway, sorry, yeah. So AI is going to become the foundational technology. We cannot escape from that. And because of that, companies have no choice, even in a downturn. So you don't have to worry so much about recession because of that. The big companies especially, they cannot afford not to invest in this. And because of that, there will be demand for AI-related investment. How many of you agree that? Right? How many companies can wait, right? They cannot wait, especially the big guys. Okay? So due to that, all pullback is a potential opportunity to get in. Of course, you need to have your own risk management. Okay? And if you want to stay competitive, you better get into this. China, AI trend will continue, and US also cannot fall behind. So, and the next competition between US and China is a lot to do with the semicon and AI space. Right? It's going to get more intensified. And so AI is not the new future, right? It is the new future. It's like the inflection point of internet. Okay? So that's all I have. Thank you very much. I hope this is what you're looking for.
All right.